he voted for, mom with me, and I don't know, right there, that was history for me. So I vote all the time, you know. I'm heavily involved in just looking at politics, even just local politics. So for me, my wonder is how do we, a lot of people aren't like me, so they don't care that much, but like my age, I'm talking about, you know, 18 to 25, 25 to 30. That demographic, which I'm inside of, they're not as, you know, yeah, they're not. They're absolutely not. You know, they rather go see Rich Homie Quan, you know, than see this movie. And it's just, it's honesty, and it's very frustrating because I can't make people in my generation want to care. Because he said something really important. He said, you know, things were not like, things today are not like they were back then, and if we're not careful, they can't go back. It's so possible. Laws are being passed every single day. And we are so much worried about what the Kardashians are doing, but yet we have no idea what lawmakers who have been in office for 80 years are doing. So it's huge to me. I'm hoping that maybe I can try to find some young people to care. But, you know, I really hope that this group of people is really, you know, intent on inviting young people and focusing on young people. I'm not super young, but I'm pretty young. I'm 20, I just turned 27, so.
Hey, she old enough.
It's not right.
She old enough.
You thought she was 19 then?
But I really want to involve young people, so I hope we can start doing that.
Good deal. And you can kick that off. You know, you touched on quite a few points, but you know, just being involved and not sitting back saying, well, it doesn't affect me, so it doesn't matter. You know, and that's kind of, you know, what Pastor Woodard was speaking on. You know, right now, if it doesn't matter to me, if it doesn't affect my household, my address. But what we fail to realize, I believe, oftentimes, just because it doesn't affect my household, it will indirectly affect my household. Whether it's through my kids being out in public, myself, or what have you. So that was great thought. Saw her hand up back here.
That's me. My name is Maisha Davis, and I am a member of the Urban League. And one thing I would like to say is that, like the young lady said, I'm in Montgomery every Wednesday. I actually see what lawmakers do and how the different bills that come out of the legislation, and basically no one cares. Like the young lady said, and I like to reiterate, we care about the Kardashian, what they're doing. And what we have to fail to realize is those people are millionaires. They have their living. So I would like to urge any young person that wants to be involved and engaged to get involved. My focus is more so women. That's what I focus in on as far as engagement is concerned. And so one thing that he did say that empowered me to continue my work is you got to get involved, you got to get into something, to start something, to make something happen. And that's just true. And so, yeah, that's all I had to add to that. Because I was a little teary-eyed myself back here, because working in this kind of business, it do get emotional, it gets draining, and you get tired. But that gives you a boost to continue to do what you have to do to get things done. So, yeah. I'm not going to cry, Marklin. Get me on camera.
I'd love to catch you on camera crying.
That's like I said, the film's really inspiring, and I think well done. And I was really impressed they've got footage on young John Lewis. Yeah. Archive, that he was
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Did quite a bit of digging.
They took that
Put
good show.
together.
And when they interspersed him in the present and then flashing back, you know, it's better if it's not just straight chronologically.
Great production.
One of the things that anytime I hear John Lewis or see him doing what he's doing on an everyday regular basis, you know, he's the same person every time you see him. He's always, you know, he's actively looking for ways to get involved. And y'all will talk about this for a minute. But here's my contention. I'm probably aged out of the young professional thing now.
We raised your age.
You know, I'm 40, so I'm thinking.
We got
5 more years. I got a whole new viewpoint on it. I thought after I got that 4, I was out. But you know, I'm old enough to, you know, be real jaded because I've seen some things in those 40 years, and even I have every now and then contention with some of my younger brothers and sisters all across the board about being engaged. So the thing with the voting rights that has just, you know, got under my skin over the last 3 years or so, to the point where I have to watch myself when I'm giving tours in the facility. Because once we get in the voting section, you know, I started getting on my soapbox. Some of y'all might have been part of that before. And we talk about why Shelby versus Holder is so insidious, but I feel like we can't get enough people to be mad about that. You know, we get upset about things that don't really mean anything in the long run. That's what gets me. And I don't want to be jaded towards this group. I don't. You know, and I know there's people in this room that are doing things. But I see us getting upset about surface, you know, stuff like we were just talking about Kardashians, and I don't care what they do. You know, but then this decision comes down, and those 9 states that were selected for Shelby versus Holder have this freedom now. And as soon as the decision came down, they started taking stuff away from people, like the same day. My home state is North Carolina. They couldn't wait. They were sitting here like this and just started just dialing back all of the protections for young people, elderly, minorities when it came to voting. Now, I got a stat for y'all, and it goes to the heart. It's real disrespectful to people like John Lewis, you know, who had his head cracked open, trying to fight for voting rights. Those 9 states, if you don't know anything about pre-clearance, and this is just a quick history lesson to get off of it, so keep talking. Pre-clearance, that Section 4 had a formula in it already, that if you went a certain period of time without any infractions, you automatically came off the list. You weren't stuck there in perpetuity. You just, if you made it a certain, I think it was it's not even like maybe 1 or 2 years. It wasn't even like a long period of time. You come off the list. So if you were still on the list after 50 years, guess what? You still have infractions. You're still doing the stupid stuff. So the formula was already there to come off, as long as you get your nose clean. So then the ranking for all those 9 states that were listed, their ranking right now in 2016 for access to voting is all D and F. All 9 states. Nobody has above a D. But did you know that before today?
I did not.
We're not getting the information that we need. Well, first of all, we're not looking for it. But those things are important. So if it was a situation where they were doing the right thing, they wouldn't be a DNF as far as access to voting. And as soon as that law goes into place, and it's like, oh shoot, let me take this from you, let me take that from you, you're a DNF. So that means you're still doing. In fact, you're not only doing, you're creating more barriers for people when it comes to voting. And to me, that's a slap in the face for somebody like this, who went through so much trying to get that. You know, and then, well, let me be careful with that. Let me reel that back just a little bit. In our state, where you had 31 closings of DMV, and 28 of those were in black districts. We just had common sense. How many people that you know who have access to information know where your border regions is?
What?
Border regions. Are you familiar how to get to the border regions? That's where you're going to get ID that you're not in a place where DMV is available. Right. Most of y'all live here, right?
Yeah, right.
We don't know what the border regions is. So what about people in the Black Belt, where most of those DMVs were, that were closed, who don't have the best transportation in the world, don't have all the money to do what you gotta do, how are they gonna find out about the Board of Regents? Because that was the whole thing. People kept screaming about, the Board of Regents, you go to the Board of Regents to get one. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Without, going here, like, Board of Regents, what do I do? But I got 90. So if you are 85, 90, you've been voting ever since you had the right to. You were using your power bill or whatever else that you could use up to that time frame. You haven't driven in 10 years. You don't have a valid driver's license. What are you supposed to do? So we have to be effective there. We know better. When you know better, you do better, right? That's right. So we have to be the ones that are trumping in that. We can't wait for somebody else to do it. Because you just found out about that a minute ago.
What about cities like Birmingham where the last mayoral race, not even 10% of the population came out?
Pitiful.
He won at 10,000 votes. We have over 100,000
And
people.
the thing I can't understand is people will complain about government. My father said, if you don't vote, shut up.
Yes.
Shut up. You don't have a right to complain about anything that happens to you, especially if you don't vote in local elections. So that's where your bread gets buttered.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, I think that I went to them and I work around young people all the time. I think one of the key success stories that we could incorporate is taking the word to young people, because they're not going to always come to us. And I commend the young professionals for what they have done tonight here. But it certainly takes having these critical conversations that we're having right now, but they're not going to come here. To have that conversation, you have to take the word to them. And secondly, John Lewis had a lot of courage, faith, and commitment. And I think America now do not feel like the struggle is still real, because you have accomplished so much and they don't feel the need, but that's because they don't know the story. So having the critical conversations, taking it to them and letting them understand and realize that you do need to get in the way. You do need to speak up. So I commend you for the work that you've done tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Good morning.
I was going to echo exactly what you
Okay.
said. It's not relevant because history is not being taught. I was taught history in 2 points of my life. My 5th grade teacher, her name was Vivian Cantaloupe Cotton, and my sophomore year at Birmingham Southern. A lot of stuff don't make it to history books, so this is not relevant to the audience that we're criticizing right now.
Right.
Yeah, they have Google and everything, but how does me not voting got anything to do with me getting a job when I get out of high school? How does this bill that was passed decades ago relate to me being able to walk down the street peacefully? There's nothing to connect the dots, like the doctor said. And I admire the Civil Rights Institute for what it does for the community, but it's just, history is just not taught, and that's over the mountain, and that's over in the inner city. If you go through a history book, most of this stuff is not there. And if it is, it's glazed over quickly.
Go ahead.
And not only that, history is not being taught, but when you turn the TV on and when you open up your phone, and you are always seeing is love and hip hop and all these negative events. So that's what they're feeding into the people like Young Thug. So, you know, that's.
Hi, I'm John Hamiltree. I'm with AL.com, the Birmingham News. I guess I just want to offer, my role is that I oversee guest voices and guest opinion and commentary. And, you know, I'll be frank, the Birmingham News has historically not done a very good job of covering Black issues and civil rights issues. I think that there's an exhibit at the Museum of Art right now about the gaps of our coverage in the 60s. And, you know, we because of the evolving business moving to an online model, our staff force has even shrunk in the last 5 to 10 years. But I would like to offer the guest opinion page as a space for you all to tell your stories, to tell your struggles, and to really get that out there as a platform. I'm happy to talk with anybody afterwards, give you my phone number, give you my email address. And, you know, when we can, we can dispatch people to cover stories. I wish that we could cover everything, I genuinely do, but we can use you and your voices to shed light on some of those issues, if that's something people are interested in.
Hey, John, can you also talk a little bit about that box of pictures that was found, those Martin Luther King pictures of,
Talking about,
that we use
in the archives? Yeah, sure. I think we actually partnered with the Civil Rights Institute on that, so Laura may know more about that than I do. And I believe we're in the process of putting together another exhibit.
We are. I can speak to it. How long ago was that, Laura?
Has anyone forgotten?
Yeah.
Yeah, 09.
About 9 years ago. Yeah, so there was the intern was from Harvard. Was it Harvard?
No, but anyway, he grew up here. He grew up here and he was at Columbia.
Okay, I think it was like
journalism school, yeah.
Sorry. And so he found boxes of photos, you know, from the civil rights movement that Birmingham News had that were just kind of tucked away.
Negatives.
Negatives, yeah. So
Thousands
we
of
had,
negatives.
it was a lot of stuff.
Maybe not.
And so we had like a little mini show here, and we partnered on some things. So currently, we're working on a project for the rest of this year, summer going into the fall. It's called Open Motion, and it'll be an exhibition. We're looking at the impact of 1956 with the backdrop of the Montgomery bus boycott, because that involves NAACP getting kicked out. It involves, I can write you. It involves Nat King Cole being attacked in this city. Y'all knew that, right? Yeah. Okay. So, all right, at the bottom. R3 Lucy trying to integrate University of Alabama. Shellsworth's house getting bombed. All kind of stuff. And this treasure trove, you got all of these amazing pictures that the news has of a lot of this stuff. And we had a chance to see some of this material over the last couple of months. And I'm telling you, we're really looking forward to putting this out, because there's images that we've never seen before. You know, and I think it'll be a really cool exhibition for people to get involved in. So you can hear more about that going forward. So we're looking
One
forward.
thing I want to say, talking about getting the history out and taking it to the children. I'm from that era where my parents told me the story. I believe in telling the story. I'm a pastor. I preach from the pulpit every Sunday, and I tell the story. I smell that stuff and all that stuff when Martin Luther King's Jr. brother's house was bombed. I lived less than 100 yards from that house. And when they bombed this building, the same, you know, all of this stuff I experienced. And I tell my daughter, Lady Wu from 95.7 Champ, I tell her the story so that she will understand where I get my attitude from. Because I can get angry real quick about things that, you know, we miss today. And when we talk about telling the story, those people out there who are killing one another, you talk about John Lewis being cracked over the head and blood being shed for voters' rights. And these people out there saying, well, I don't vote. And that's just my, that's just my decision. That bothered me. I mean, really, it really hurt me to hear that from a 30-year-old, well, more than a 30-year-old. But saying that I don't vote, that's crazy to me. When people have died and shed their blood for the right to vote. I don't tell you who to vote for, but you have a right to vote, so go and vote.
I think it goes back to what the president said. If it doesn't affect me today, then I should not be bothered with it. So I think that's with my generation. Now with me, I'm very active. I'm a very active voter. I ran. You know, that's how engaged I am in my civic duty. Because like you say, I was taught as a young girl growing up in Mobile County, you cannot make a difference if you don't become engaged. You cannot make a difference if you don't become involved. And so a lot of times people just say, oh, it doesn't affect me. I don't have nothing to do with that. But what they don't realize is it does, because it may not affect you, but you're going to have children, and it may affect them. So I think the message that we have to get across is we have a responsibility to each other. We often say we are our brother's keeper, we're our sister keeper. We'll actually be that instead of being it in words. Let your action show.
Speaking of telling the story and bravery of Lewis and Shuttlesworth of AOL.com here, I think we really have something in John Archibald. Tells the story, and he's on the front lines and tells pretty brave. So, I mean, we're talking a lot about, not that he's young, but staying back and shying away from the issues and not digging in. But he faces some tough stuff. So.
He has kind of story he won't tell now.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I did some talking about just breaking up, and we need that.
I just wanted to say that I think that story is so important, what we've all said, and I think when you have young people that have grown up saying, oh, well, we're past slavery, this is, racism, we got a black president, no more racism, and if we could, I work with high schoolers at Anytown, Alabama, and doing heritage panels throughout the schools, and you hear those stories from those young people about racism, and about mistreatment, and about struggles and stuff. And, it's any time that we can come up with venues or ways to let them tell their own stories of how mistreated they are, then I think we're really, then there can be some connection there that there wouldn't be otherwise. And I think it's really important to hear from them. And I think they will talk if you give them the forum to do that.
One thing I personally know is even with the opportunity to lead a great organization such as the Birmingham Urban League, we oftentimes hear, the people in front of us, we want to kind of hold the reins tight. We don't trust the young people. We want to, take control. We feel like they don't give us a chance. And I kind of look at it this way, even as a parent, or if you have younger siblings, or even at a job. We always feel that we can do things better versus giving it to someone else to do it. Because in our minds, we feel we won't mess it up. We won't miss anything. They may miss it. All right? I relate that back to the people in front of us passing us the torch. If they look back, just think about it. We can even look at sometime in our household, our friends, people we're around. Would you pass them the torch to do anything? So we have to show, like she mentioned, by our actions, not just saying, "Oh, that's my brother," or "Yes, I'm staying afloat," or I have a lot of friends. I admit, "Oh, I went and voted for the president." Did you go vote for your representative? Or oh no, I ain't. Your local election is what's going to hinder you the most, or progressive, not your actual president. He can only do so much. He has what they call Congress. So I think, and I invite our CEO up in a moment for closing remarks, but one thing that I really got out of the movie is just, making a difference, getting involved, not just saying, I want to be a part of an organization, I want to work. Okay, come to the organization with a plan. Hey, this is what I want to do to help. I want to go out. Hey, come up with ideas. Being on committee, being engaged. I know it's hard. I got 2 on page, not just 1. And a wife. I get it.
You gonna have to edit that.
Seriously, I get it, and I know this day and age, time is of the essence. Everything, time, you gotta go, I gotta do this, I don't have time. We have to make time. Because if we don't make time, time will pass us by and we'll still be again back in that, hopefully not the rut of the 50s and 60s, but being in an underserved situation. And lastly, let's not, for some of us who may be at the peak of our career or, mid-level, whatever it is, let's not forget the ones that's not right there yet. It's okay to surround yourself in a different environment, whatever that environment may be, but don't forget where you come from. Because think if John Lewis would have said, hey, apparently, according to the movie, he had a pretty good life. What if he just said, okay, I'm okay, he's hanging out with Kennedy. And, the rest of y'all, will we be able to vote right now, maybe? So let's think about that. But at this time, I'd like to bring our interim CEO, Mr. William Barnes, up for our closing remarks and just kind of.
I got 3 minutes,